What's up guys, Higsbo here, bringing you today another video, and this time I have unlocked something that I said in the past that once I unlocked I was going to do a video about. I have only unlocked the first part of this thing, but pretty soon I'm going to unlock the second part, and I feel like the first part of this unlock is so great that I have to make a video. I can't wait till the second one because I already know how great the first one is. So that being said, let's get right into it. And if you look to my right lower corner, you're gonna see what I'm talking about, and that is the skill of being able to zero in your weapon. Now this skill is found under the no, it's in perks. Actually, it's found under the rifles. But this is the thing, most of the things that are here in rifles, and you could find skills everywhere in handguns, shotguns, archery, bunch of skills that don't necessarily have to do specifically with the categories they're in. They work with any weapon, and that's the case with this one. For example, this first skill in rifles, you guys can tell, unlocks the ability to ready your next shot without leaving aim mode. This works for all weapons, not just for rifles. The second one increases ready speed after firing for all weapons. This works with everything, not just rifles. So you guys see where the benefit is. I have a point in handguns, I have a point in here. Unlocks the ability to reload all weapons while running. This has nothing to do with handguns, but it works with all weapons. So that's why I opted out for this. I read all the perks of all the different categories, and I planned my spec very carefully. And I'm primarily archery. This is what I started the game as. This is what I said this is what I'm gonna do because I've always loved archery. I'm a big fan of it, although I've never actually done it in real life. And every game I've ever played, I've been an archer. I've hunted archery. I've pretty much been doing everything since the beginning of time with archery. So I'm in love with archery. That's why I decided to go into it. However, I went into rifles as well because that's the next best thing after you have a bow. Bow is normally for close range or relatively close range. When you're gonna go anything above 60 meters, you most likely gonna need a rifle or a handgun of some sort. So I went into rifles. Now I got these skills because obviously they don't just affect my rifles, they affect everything. You know, they make me a better player as overall. And I got this one. It says zeroing, and then the first level unlocks short range zeroing. Short range means 20 to 40 meters around there, and then long range, I am guessing it's anything higher than that, at least for bows. Bows is 20, 40. I'm guessing then it's gonna be 60 and 80. That's what I'm guessing because I haven't unlocked the second part of it yet. Or for rifles, it's 80 meters and 150. So my guess is that the next two steps are gonna be long range would be 240 and then 400 meters or something like that. But I did get this skill, and I only got the first one, and I said, you know what, I told my viewers I was gonna do a video about this whenever I unlocked it and if it was even worth it. And what I found out was quite amazing. As you guys can see, I have my bow out now. Yes, I did spend the extra $24,000 getting the 5-pin sight just because I have more than enough money to blow. So why the hell not? You get what I'm saying? And as you can see, it says 20 meters right now. It's set for 20 meters. Now if you press F again, it sets for 40 meters. So you can zero your weapon. And in previous videos, if, for example, in the bow sight videos that I made, I was letting you know how you have to aim, how you always have to aim a little bit above the actual pin because that's where it always hit. So I did some playing around with this And Jesus Christ, although the wind is gonna knock my arrow a bit, so I'm gonna have to aim a little bit to the side. Okay, so this is at 19 meters, 22 meters, or okay, let's do 21 meters. Okay, and just to let you guys know, we are using 420 arrows because I had a viewer who pointed out that in my first video I was using 320 grain arrows, which is for small game, which made sense. So I'm using the 420 grain arrows now, and I'm gonna show you guys the difference between the 420 and the 600 because it is a very significant difference. Now I'm set out for 40. I'm gonna put it for 20, and I'm gonna pick a spot where I want to shoot. For example, I'm gonna be shooting here, like very perpendicular to this middle of the door. I'm gonna shoot here. Now I have a west wind, southwest wind, so I'm gonna be shooting around there, but I'm gonna be pointing a little bit to the right to counteract that wind. Now that being said, I am at 20 meters, right, and 21 meters. And I was very impressed by this because I noticed that I no longer have to aim above my target.
There should be a track nearby.
I no longer have to aim above my target. I can pretty much be accurate at 20 meters just by pointing exactly where I'm going to be at 20 meters. Now the wind took it quite a bit out that time, and then it's taking it out a lot more now this time. But it's taking it way out. But pretty much we're aiming for that area right there, and as you guys can see, it is pretty consistent. We don't have to shoot below our target anymore because we're shooting right at our target. So that being said, this wind is really hurting us, so let's try to see if we can shoot like this. Okay, so we got 19, we got 20 meters, yeah, 20 meters. Now we're gonna do it like this, and we're dead on. We're dead on again. And we're dead on again. Now let's get closer and see exactly how we did. Now we're aiming specifically for that area, and as you guys can see, is dead on that area. Now these are the arrows that we did before. These are the arrows that we did now. And we're gonna go ahead and take this a little bit more extreme. Wow, man, the wind is really crazy. Alright, so we're gonna do 40 meters exact, and we're gonna change our 0 to 40 meters, and we're gonna go ahead and do it. We're aiming exactly where the other arrows are at, and we are hitting that dead on mark. And as you guys can see, 40 meters at 40 meters is exactly where you put your pin at. There you have it. So at that distance, that pin moves a slight bit to the right or to the left, and changes everything. But you guys get the idea. Now what I found out is that 600 grain arrows, 600 grain arrows are a completely different story. 600 grain arrows are they're extremely hostile against the wind. Let's do this at 20 meters first. So basically 600 grain arrows, you need to actually shoot over the target, because I'm guessing they're so heavy that they drop down a lot quicker. And aiming at the same location we're just aiming right now with a 0 of 20 meters, they're gonna start hitting way below, and I'm shooting exactly where those other arrows are at, and you guys are gonna see that it's shooting actually below target. I'm guessing because they're so heavy that this is what happens. And we're shooting basically right here. That's where we're shooting, and we're getting arrows to drop all the way down, all the way up to here. So 600 grain arrows are definitely a lot heavier, and they will make you shoot over what you need to shoot. So with that knowledge in mind, let's get to 20 meters again, and let's take a look at our pins. So we're aiming there, and we're hitting basically at the bottom pin. So we're hitting right below the yellow pin. So let's compensate for that, and let's shoot there, and then let's shoot there, and we're compensating for that drop. So we're at 20 meters. We got to use the pin below the yellow one. And as you guys can see, that's actually working great. At 20 meters, the pin below is working great. There you go. That could not be more perfect. So basically, 600 grain arrows, you got to move up a pin. That's pretty much what it is. And as you can see, we're dead on. Let's try it. Let's try to see if we can do the same thing. If we can replicate it with the 40 meter 0 for this bow. Now we're at 40 meters. We don't have perfect wind, but we have more or less pretty good wind. Now at 40 meters, we're gonna go ahead and do the same thing with the bottom pin. Bottom pin again. And as you can see, we're hitting that mark. We're hitting that mark with that bottom pin. The wind is actually in our favor right now. The wind couldn't be better right now. Wind, it makes a hell of a difference with 600 grain arrows. The difference with 600 grain arrows is insane. I'm guessing because of the weight, and the fact that it clearly states that 600 grain arrows, right here, depending on the arrows used, these projectiles give this bow unusually flat trajectory and enough penetration to take on very game like moose and black bear when fired at close range. Now when you buy these arrows, I'm pretty sure it used to say, or it said, that it gave a lot of penetration with the with the price of not being so flat. You could definitely see that here, because that's definitely the case. Alright, so we took a couple of shots. We used the bottom pin just like before at 40 meters with a 40 meter 0. And look at that. These are the 600 grain arrows at that distance. So without a doubt, we're doing great with this. I mean, I have found so much success with this. I cannot wait till I unlock the long range version, because it has helped me out so much. I can take on those long distance shots with a lot more confidence now. For example, with the rifle, it's 75 meters, and then if you press F, it's 150 meters. So I could take those shots. Normally when you're shooting something without this skill, you have to compensate, up or down, or most likely up. Whenever you're shooting targets that are very far away, you don't know exactly where they're gonna hit. However, with this ability to zero your scope, you always know what your zero is at. Your zero is at 75. So if you have an animal that's an 80, 85, 90 meters, then you know more or less you have to compensate very, very, very slightly. So I definitely suggest you guys unlock this skill. If it's the only skill you guys are ever gonna unlock, I would highly suggest it, because it gives you the ability to zero in not just rifles but your bows as well, and a variety of different other weapons. So hopefully this guide helped you guys out. I mean, the first video I did with the bow sights, I did not recommend anybody to buy bow sights, because in reality they're not worth it. The pins don't really work. I was using pretty much this one for a very long time, and the only pin I use, to be completely honest, is the yellow one, because the yellow one's the only one that's zeroed in. The green one is not zeroed in, and the red one has a range of like 80 meters, which you're never gonna do with a bow effectively, because the wind is gonna just knock your arrow out of trajectory so much you're never gonna be able to hit your target with that. So this is pretty much useless. However, I did found that that the Mark V, which is the 5-pin one, although it doesn't glow, unfortunately, it gives you a lot more utility for your bow. As you guys were able to see, I was able to scoot a pin down from the yellow one, and I was able to make that correction that I needed to be able to hit with different arrows. So that's gonna be it for this video, guys. The video is already long enough as it is. If you guys enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you got any comments for me, leave them in the section below. And as always, this has been Higgsbo, and I'll see you guys next time.